Hello there, Libras. Welcome to your reading. So when I was meditating on this reading for you for this month, I saw this dog. Okay, he's like a golden retriever. He's got a stick in his mouth and he's wagging his tail, really happy. His owners are coming home. So you see the door opening and you see the mom and the dad. They both have dark hair, and the woman is holding a bundle. At first it looks like a baby, but it's not a baby. It's a new dog. It's a new puppy. So it's a puppy golden retriever. And the mom and the dad, they're like doting on this new puppy, while the bigger dog, the big golden retriever, has a stick in his mouth. He wants to play. He's so excited to see his masters, but they're not really giving him any attention. He keeps wagging his tail, trying to get their attention. And then he gets a little bit dejected because they're so immersed in this new puppy that they're not really looking at him. And then he stops wagging his tail, and he just kind of takes back the stick in his mouth and kind of walks out into the yard and just plays by himself. He starts digging. He starts finding new sticks. He starts finding bones that he has buried. He starts finding food that he has buried in the yard. And he's just having a really grand old time in the yard, okay? Whenever I see imagery of animals, and in particular like a dog, it denotes like this unconditional love, this unconditional loyalty that we have towards another person. Okay, so I feel like there is a situation where you have been very upfront, very loyal, very unconditionally doting on, loving on, and potentially I'm feeling very faithful, loyal, and honest to a situation. You brought your best to the situation. And for whatever reason, if feelings and emotions are not being reciprocated, and time again, you feel underappreciated, or you feel like the situation or the person you're involved with is not able to reciprocate in the manner that you hope, I also feel that it can show you, it's sort of like, that glaring moment of truth. Do I put more time and energy and resources into this situation? Or do I start to, emotionally, mentally, and then physically check myself out of that situation so that I can find better things on the horizon? Or I can just, go off and do my own thing, like forge a new path for myself. And I feel there is a situation here, and I can't tell which direction it's moving from, if it's from you or from a partner, where somebody has been questioning loyalty, okay? So somebody might be questioning, you Libras. Where does your loyalty lie? Or you could be questioning somebody's sense of loyalty. And I feel like whoever is questioning the other person has been very upfront, very honest, very loving, very committed. And for whatever reason, they're finding themselves in a position where the other person is questioning their loyalty, okay? So I'm almost seeing this image about like, enough's enough. I'm going to give my loyalty to somebody that is worthy and deserving of it, okay? So there is a little bit of finality coming through where you start to see a situation for what it is, and you start to see the balance in the give and take and the amount of devotion. Librans in general are very sensitive when it comes to imbalances, unfairness, lack of justice in a situation. And so I feel like you have been questioning things. And I feel like the month of March is pretty much about what do we already know and how do we act on the information that we have already come to terms with, okay? The month of February was all about revelations, was all about finality. And I feel like February, for a lot of the air signs and a lot of the earth signs, it was a very revelation induced type of a month. And these are like, major epiphanies, major awakenings, major sense of realization coming to light, where if we've been wondering, if we've been questioning things, things present themselves or play out in a very physical way. And it gave us the confirmation that we need regarding how other people have been treating us, how we are seen by other people around us, and whether or not we want to revamp our image, or whether or not we can say, scrap that. I don't really care to revamp my image to people or with people that are not really deserving. So I feel like, the month of February, however short it might be, 28 days out of the month, it was a very, very big month, wrapped in a small package. It was a very, very big month. And I feel that for many of us, air signs and earth signs in particular, we have come to the realization that some situations cannot be sustained, okay? It's like it's already past its expiration date. And if we stay in it longer, it's going to go sour. It's sort of like milk that is expiring in your fridge. If you don't throw it out, it's going to curdle, it's going to congeal, and it's going to get nasty. That's what it feels like to me. And so we want to stay ahead of the energy and figure out what's no longer working, and not lie to ourselves, and stay invested in the situation, trying to tinker with it, trying to tweak it, trying to work at it, or trying to fix it. I feel like some things just are meant at this point to kind of be left alone so that we can shift forward to better energies, okay? So let me just talk about the cards that are coming out. First of all, we have a couple here. And I'm going to read them in the way that they came out. So we have here the Queen of Wands, fire sign, King of Wands, fire sign. So fire energy, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. The fact that the couple came out like this, I feel like this is quite a powerful couple, okay? These are very extroverted, people-oriented court cards. So what it means is they're very, very financially well off, okay? So she makes her money, he makes her money. If you're dealing with same-sex couples, I feel like, both parties make money. They might be in the creative industry. They might wield a lot of power. They might be in a position where they're managing, supervising, overseeing major works that a lot of other people are doing. So I'm seeing people who are really, really established in their careers. I'm also seeing as well people in the creative industry that has a lot of fame, a lot of fortune. Okay, so we're talking like a really powerful couple. One person might be a lawyer, the other person might be a doctor. They could be, engineers, architects, or just people that wield a lot of skills. They're highly desirable in the workforce. They're very, very career oriented. And as a result of that, I feel almost like their career paths or their life paths are starting to diverge, okay? So what was once Six of Cups? This is a card about memories, childhood. It's like the beginning stages of love. It's that puppy love. It's that honeymoon stage. At the very beginning, the situation was like one person was on a higher pedestal. They might have made more money. They might have been already fixed in a career path. They might have more resources. They were putting the other person through some type of either putting somebody through school. So for example, if you're in a relationship, one person has already been established in their field, and then they're helping the other person, helping the other person get through college, get through grad school, and they were doing a brunt of the work, okay? And now that this phase is done and over, because it did flip out in the reverse. I don't do reversals with this spread because it's a non-traditional deck, okay? It's like the Tarot of the New Vision. It's reversed in general, because you're seeing the backside of the court cards. But what I'm feeling is one person propped the other person up, made sure that the other person mated, and now that the other person has mated, it felt to me almost like the purpose of this union ceases to exist, okay? Somebody repay their karma. This is like a karmic debt from another life. Somebody is here to get the other person to the next evolution of their life. And once that purpose has already been reached, the relationship has outgrown its purpose. Does that make sense? That's what I'm feeling here with this power couple, with these two energies of people who are now at a point where they have different goals, okay? And then I also feel like if you have children, and I feel like you very well might have children with one another. If you have children, one person, I feel this emotional distance. And I feel one person is pouring their love into children, okay? The children are, it's kind of like the reason to be, the reason why we are not splitting up, the reason why we're still in this together. One person is very much focused on the kids and possibly pouring their love and their emotions on the kids. And then the other person feels a little bit left out, like that golden retriever, feeling left out because there's a new puppy in the house now. And one person, look at the couple on that chair, okay? Wants the old connection back, wants the time back, where it was just us, where the kids weren't in the picture, where we were, you know, newly in love, newly engaged, without the responsibilities. And then the other person, their focus is very much on child rearing, on parenting, on, I guess, like maintaining the household. And as a result of that, I feel like there's this emotional rift between two people. One person wants more love in the relationship, and the other person is so bogged down with parenting that they feel like their partner is demanding too much of them. And so it's hard to really balance the relationship. For those of you who have children, I feel like you have to take extra care with your relationship partner if you want the situation to turn around for the better. And then for others, I feel like there definitely is a karmic relationship here that has kind of served its purpose, and it's time to go your separate ways because you're either not in love with each other anymore, you care about each other, you have fond feelings for one another, and there's this immense sense, once again, of loyalty where you helped me get to where I am right now, or I helped you get to where you are right now. And we've had like too much of a history together. So let's just ride it out. But I do sense this emotional distance that's not really allowing the relationship to come together. And you're going to have to, you know, go your separate ways. There are a lot of things here that indicate to me major transitions and changes that are coming in when it comes to your emotional state, okay? At the very beginning stages of, like, you know, puppy love, that honeymoon stage, we can deal with a lot of annoyances in the other person. We can tolerate a lot in the other person. But when that baseline love or emotional connection is no longer there, and we have, you know, emotionally distanced ourselves or have emotionally moved on, and we're already thinking about, like, you know, what else is on the horizon? What else is out there for us? I feel almost like the emotional weight of putting ourselves out there again, going through the whole dating spiel, it can feel very awkward. It can feel very daunting. In a way, it's a little bit exciting, but in other ways, the newness, the strangeness, the lack of familiarity can feel almost like this tsunami that's gonna come over us and envelop us and drown us. And so there is a situation here where the emotional connection, I feel, is no longer there. Somebody feels very much left out in the cold, okay? Dejected and feeling very underappreciated. And then as a result of thinking about and projecting, what is my single life going to look like? On the one hand, There are a lot of options. On the other hand, I'm going to have these awkward conversations like, I have to find a new partner that's going to be accepting of my kids. I'm going to have to, divvy up assets. We're going from a 10 Pentacles to the 5 of Pentacles, divvying up assets, having to go out on the dating world, having to make sure that you're comfortable with blended families, having to make sure that the people that like us are also welcoming of our children, of the whole blended family situation. And so I feel like you want to act, or somebody in this situation wants to act, wants to leave, but the future on the horizon looks a little bit scary, okay? You see that big wave, and you see this man floating in a chair. It's almost like an SUV. When you make really sharp turns, you topple over, and that's what it feels like. He's on this high chair, and this wave is coming in. That boat is barely surviving the wave, and he's anticipating, like, am I going to get knocked over? Am I going to sink because the chair is made from stone, right? So a situation is really, really scary, and you might have been very afraid to leave the situation. But I feel like you're determined, and you're making up your mind that you're going to go forth and prosper, because whatever is happening here is just not as tolerable. And what I feel happening here is you are going to work up the courage. You're going to gain that strength. And you're going to be pretty much resolute, not only emotionally, physically, overcoming these fears that you have in your head about what the next phase of your life is going to look like, but you're going to take the plunge and you're going to move forward. For some of you who might be dealing with a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, and especially if this is a romantic partner, this can be their sun, moon, or rising. I'm sensing as well, okay? I feel like, there's definitely a need to re-examine a relationship. I feel a sense of defensiveness. And I feel almost like they're holding back a lot. They have a lot that they want to tell you, but the moment is never right. They have a lot of, I'm hearing like grievance. Anytime we're dealing with another person, okay, there are things that they're going to do that always ticks us off. And there are things that we do that we might not be aware of that ticks them off. And when we're dealing with another human being, and especially if they're a different sign than us, the ways in which we communicate our appreciation or love is always going to be different. And so I feel like somebody is really holding back information. Not that they're deceptive. I don't see deception in this spread. I don't see infidelity. I don't see cheating. I don't see any of that. But I do feel an emotional disconnect between a partner, a couple, a very established couple especially. And if you're dealing with a fire sign, I'm sensing, they might be wanting to tell you, hey, this relationship is getting a little bit stale. Let's stir things up. Let's try something new. Let's try to revive. Or they might be telling you, they might be feeling like a little bit left out. They might be feeling that your attention is elsewhere and not really given to them. So this could also be, if this is, not a long-standing relationship, if you're not in a long-standing relationship, and if you're dealing with someone who is of a fire nature, so Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, I feel like they're getting ready to walk away because they feel like the appreciation is not there from your end. They feel like your focus is elsewhere. And they feel like, they want to move forward. And, fire signs are usually very expressive. They when they get angry, everybody in the room is going to feel it. It's going to know it. When they get frustrated, everyone knows energetically, but also because they are very good at showing emotions, okay? And oftentimes they scream, they yell, they boil over, and then they get over it, which is amazing. They don't hold things in, but for whatever reason, I feel like this person has been holding a lot of stuff in. And I feel it's mainly because their pride is prick. Okay? When a fire signs like to be doted on. Okay? They're kids at heart, and they like to be the center of attention. And this is not just Leos, all fire signs, I feel. They like to be appreciated. They like to be acknowledged. And I feel like somebody has been putting themselves out there multiple times and might not have been met with the reciprocation or the appreciation that they feel they deserve. And when they feel undeserved, or not undeserved, when they feel underappreciated, it really hurts their ego. And I feel like, they're not going to sulk in silence. They're just going to bounce. They're just going to bounce into the next situation or go off with somebody else that will give them that attention, that wholehearted attention, and that will, give them what they feel they deserve. And like I said, it's not about infidelity. It's not about finding, a new young thing that they can get involved with while they're involved with you. It has nothing to do with infidelity or cheating or anything like that. It's just they're going to tell you, I'm out. And then that is going to give them leeway to look for other things that stirs their passion, or where they feel like the efforts that they put in are being reciprocated. So I do see an emotional rift here between two people. If this is something that you want to fix, I'm sensing it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of courage to really, really be available and to be able to talk to this person. It's like, prying the answers out of the lion's mouth. Okay, lions are proud creatures. So it requires a soft touch. It requires finesse. It requires patience. And it requires coming from a space of wisdom, like this angel. She's got that infinity symbol. It's not about, who's right and who's wrong, or, coming in and just be like, stop acting up. Tell me what's going on. You have to approach this situation with a little bit of finesse, with a little bit of softness, in order to get this person to open up. So be very, very gentle and delicate. The person shows up as a king. And I feel like in a way it might be a facade. Okay, they're kingly in the way they make money, in the way that they rule people, meaning they can delegate, they can take care of business, they can bring home the money. They're very reliable. They're very intelligent. They're very much about, it's almost like somebody who has a really keen business sense, and they can spot the next opportunity, and they get in there and invest in that big opportunity because they understand it's going to pay out in the long run. So this is like somebody with that type of a business sense. But when it comes to their emotional development, they might be a little bit different, and they might be very, very risk adverse when it comes to emotional investment, investing in new people. I'm seeing a situation here where there's a lot of sunk cost in a relationship. So like, I've invested all of these years. I've invested all of my energy. We've got kids together. We've got possibly, a house together. Our family knows each other. My siblings know about you, your siblings know about me. For Thanksgiving or for Christmas or for major holidays, everybody gets together. So the situation, there's a lot of sunk cost. And as a result of it, if we walk away from this situation that we have built up over many, many, many years, we can't really extract the sunk cost. It has already been sunken into this situation. If we were to part ways, if we were to leave, we both end up in this state of, deprivation. But staying in this situation also brings about deprivation. So I definitely feel there's a lot of push and pull here. Do I stay or do I go? Do I move forward, or do I, try to fix this? I'm feeling as well, there's a situation where, so I feel like you might be dealing with a partner, or you might be dealing with some major financial uncertainty in your life. Okay, so like you might be dealing with a partner who's facing a lot of financial uncertainty. And in particular, if it's a water sign too, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, okay? This is a person that is really looking at the waves that are coming in. And it's linked up here with the Five of Pentacles. So they're seeing a lot of financial uncertainty. You yourself could be experiencing this. And I feel like, that lack of a financial foundation is creating a lot of anxiety within you, a lot of uncertainty. And so you're trying to find the quickest way. I'm sensing once upon a time, you might have been like, very, very, you might have been like in that wishful thinking stage, or that I don't want to say wishful thinking because that sounds almost condescending, but I feel like you were that idealist. You were that person that's like, I want to major in liberal arts and I want to change the world, even though you knew the career prospects after graduation was not looking great, but you wanted to do it anyways because it was something that your heart was 100% in, right? Like it stirs your heart, it stirs your passion. But the reality of it after graduation was everybody with an accounting degree got jobs. Everybody with an engineering degree got jobs. Everybody with a finance degree got jobs. And those liberal arts major are just like, we're not able to find work. We're, piecing together a lot of odd jobs in order to make ends meet. So I feel as if for many of you, you might feel almost like your financial future looks very, very uncertain because you pursued a career that really stirs your passion. But in the real world, in the practical world, your salary might not match up to your education, and now you're feeling like, what do I do now? Do I backtrack? Do I try to pursue a different course, like a different career path, or do I keep going, embrace and hope that something in the future is going to come into the picture? What I'm sensing is this is a situation that is really testing your faith, okay? And I want to say that I feel it is a little bump in the road. It's not indicative of your financial future. And I feel that prosperity is a place that we can start manifesting from, okay? So what I feel is this is a space that you want to be in. This is where you might be now. And if you're manifesting from this space of like, losing your optimism, losing your sense of wonder, losing your passion because you're trying to streamline this process and expedite getting from a 5 of Pentacles to the 10 of Pentacles, you have to manifest from this space. Meaning, really, really thinking about, what do I need on a foundational level in order to make me happy? You can't be at a job that makes you miserable just to collect the coins, right? So I feel like somewhere along the way, you feel a little bit jaded and you feel almost like I took a wrong path. And now I'm too invested, too much sunk cost. I'm too invested in this linear path that I can't really branch off. It's almost like, how you stay in a job for so long that you feel a little bit pigeonholed into similar industry. So you're trying to branch out, doing something different, but all of your experience, all of your skills from the past is related to that specific industry. So you end up feeling pigeonholed, and all the jobs that you apply for don't call you back because of your resume. And so the only jobs that you can get is in a similar or related industry that you're trying to break away from. So I see this major paradox here that frustrates you guys. That's what I'm feeling. It's sort of like, the family, they have a golden retriever and then they get another golden retriever. And so the cycle starts all over again. It's the same pattern. And something's got to give. There has to be some type of a way out. And the thing is, Libras, I know this is not much consolation, but you all are very, very good at problem solving. Okay. And I feel like, you know, you guys are really good at seeing both sides of the story. But for the past few months, past few years, I've also noticed that you guys are a little bit too slow to act when new opportunities present themselves, because you look at both sides of the coin. And I don't feel that you go for the safe route. I feel that you go for the intellectually stimulating route. You want something that challenges your mind. So even if something that's very nourishing to your emotions, I feel like you always opt for that thing that really challenges or stimulates your mind. And I feel like when we make decisions from that space over long periods of time, we might feel that the heart might have been lacking all along. So what that means is we choose opportunities to expand our minds, but we don't choose opportunities to expand our heart. And then we're dealing with the ramifications of that as of this moment. That's what I feel like, you know, this paradox, being pulled in different directions. Seeing things so completely from, you know, one side of the story. On the one hand, there's this to consider. On the other hand, there's this to consider. And so you kind of like go back and forth, you oscillate, and you never really make clear, concrete decisions. And I'm sensing it has taken us to this point. This is a major turning point. Where do we go from here? What do we do? Do we invest more time, more sunk costs? Or do we, you know, call it a day and just move on to something else? Deep down, I feel almost like I see a household where, so give me just a moment. Let me try to phrase this in a way where I feel like it captures these 4 cards here. I see a household that is very, very big on accomplishments, okay? So like one's a doctor, one's a lawyer, you know, so let's say like the firstborn is a doctor, the second is a engineer. And so the third child feels like, oh my gosh, I have, you know, parents are placing such high expectations for me. Or from the outside looking in, you know, my sisters or my siblings are so successful. I have to be successful. It's expected of me. So I see the social pressure, family pressure as well. I'm also seeing with the children, okay, where parents place really, really high expectations on the kids. So if you have children and you find yourself like, oh, my kid is going to be a doctor, my kid's going to be a lawyer, I feel that you have to let the kid kind of meander through life and find their own path and do whatever it is that makes them happy. Because too much rigidity and too much emphasis on external accomplishments, I feel like it can give a lot of anxiety to the children. It can give the person that is dealing with all of these expectations a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights, and just an overwhelming sense of uncertainty when it comes to their future, because they have so much to live up to, and they just feel inadequate where they're at. So it's like somebody here feels like nothing I do is good enough. That's what it feels like to me. Like nothing I do is good enough. My efforts are not being reciprocated. I feel underappreciated. I feel like someone is not appreciative of my efforts. We also have a family here too. Queen of Wands, King of Wands, and the Page of Wands. A family situation where I feel like, you know, if you have children and you are in the process of contemplating separation or divorce, this is a conversation that you're finding very difficult to tell the children. And I feel like the children might try to bring the parents together, might try to resolve conflict, might try to be the mediator, might try to play therapist. But therapists are supposed to be a neutral third party without hidden agendas. And I feel like you might be consulting people about the situations, and they see things in a more bias, with a more biased slant, and they're giving you advice that, you know, serves their own agenda. I mean, they could be the best people in the world, but I feel like they're seeing a situation through a biased lens, and they're giving you information based on their assessment, and it might not be appropriate for you. Okay, so for example, if you're dealing with somebody who came from a broken home, and you're asking them, like, should I divorce or should I, you know, separate? They're gonna tell you, you know, I come from a broken home, and I turned out fine. So yeah, just go ahead, and if you're not happy, just divorce. Like, they're giving you a very superficial, but also a very biased perspective as to what you should do with your life. So I feel like the advice they're giving you might not be appropriate. This is definitely something that you have to kind of dig in internally in order to figure out. And the bottom line is, I definitely feel a connection that has already past its expiration date. And I feel like a relationship that has already passed its purpose, because two people have already made it. They needed each other to make it. They've already made it. And so right now, the relationship can exist, but I do feel it has served its karmic purpose. Okay? I'm going to pull out a few more cards for you, Libras, because I feel like this is not, you know, this might be for a few of you. So let me just see. What is your advice here for Libra for the month of March 2019? What is your advice? Let's do 2 more cards. Okay, they're all in the reverse, so let's look at this situation. We have 7 of Cups, options, okay? In the reverse position, options are pretty much dwindling. We can't really sit around and mull over each single option anymore, mainly because I feel like you're coming across this energy that is very singular, that is very final. And it's pretty much telling you, you know, we've exhausted all options in the book, and we can't really revive it or bring it to life or fix the situation. We also have as well the Knave of, this is the Page of Swords. And what this is saying is, when it's in the reverse position, I feel almost like sweeping the truth under the rug, okay? Denying a situation, denial, sweeping things under the rug, not acknowledging the fact that, you know, we've already exhausted all of our options. And then we also have as well the 4 of Cups, longing for something else, longing for the ethereal, longing for this, you know, unicorn, and almost having this very, very idealistic sense of what reality is supposed to be. When it's in the reverse, you're looking at a situation not through rose-tinted glasses, but through the lens of reality. And you're starting to see as well, you know, these realistically are the options that I have in front of me. Unicorns might not exist in this world, so I need to make this decision more from a practical perspective. I feel like for those of you who are dealing with a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, they are feeling very, very, very left out in this situation. Very left out. They feel like they can't connect with you emotionally. They also feel like the future with you is very, very uncertain. And they might be doubting your loyalty. They might be doubting your loyalty. So Libras, that's what I have for you. I hope it is helpful for those who are dealing with the situation. I hope that it gives you some clarity. For those of you who are still emailing me, okay, regarding private readings, I've included a link in the description box for a psychic. Her name is Bridget. She's based out of California. She's phenomenal. If you like a reading, if you need some spiritual guidance, if you need some clarity, I would highly recommend that you book a reading with her. I've been using her services for the past 2 years. She was introduced by a family member, and since then I've introduced her to, my friends, family members as well. And she's phenomenal. So if you're looking for guidance, just, hit her up, okay? I'm going to leave it at that. And hopefully this is going to be helpful for those of you who are dealing with this situation. I hope it's helpful. I wish you all the best, okay? Take care. This energy feels a little bit heavy, but I feel like when you're ready to act, you're very resolute. So I'm not worried about you, okay? When you might take a really long time to assess a situation, weigh out your pros and cons. But when you're ready to act, and I feel you're ready to act, you're ready to explore, you're ready to see what else is out there. Your mind it seems like your mind's already made up, but emotionally you just need to kind of like bite the bullet and find the courage to execute those plans. And I feel like that's what's happening here. There's a little bit of dragging your feet when it comes to execution, okay? Executing a plan, a course of action, but I feel like your mind's already made up as to what you need to do. So because of that, I'm not too concerned about this energy, for you guys at least. For water signs, yes, but for you guys, I'm not too concerned. I feel like you've already know what you need to do, okay? So Libras, best of luck. I'll talk to you guys soon.